Om Shanti. Today, sweet Baba tells us, sweet children, Baba has come to take a donation from you. Donate all the old rubbish you have, and you will become pure, charitable souls. Now, there is a story in the scriptures about God coming for a donation, and there is this story, and I would like to first tell that story and then we'll understand what Baba is saying. So in the scriptures we hear that God came and asked for a donation, and it is in respect of Raja Bali. And it is said that Raja Bali had a big ego, that he's a great donor. And then God came dressed as a Brahmin and in a Vaman avatar. So he came as a dwarf and as a Brahmin. So that's the Vaman avatar of God in the scriptures, of course. So then when God comes, then Raja Bali's, so there is this sage Shukracharya, and Shukracharya is the lord of devils, Asuro ke Raja. So he immediately identifies God, and then he knows that God has come to Raja Bali, but Raja Bali doesn't know. So because Raja Bali has this habit of, offering, ask what you need. So with that ego, he asks God, tell me what you need. And then God in his Vaman avatar says, will you give me what I need? So he says, of course, whatever you need, I'll give you. And then God says that, okay, so I just want 3 pair prithvi, means 3 footsteps of land. I just want that much. So then the whole court laughs, because they think that it is such an insult that, is such a big king, this Vaman could have asked for anything, and he is just asking for 3 footsteps of land, and then they laugh. But Shukracharya knows, yes, and that's why what he does is, at that time, he becomes a fly, and then he tries to stop the king from making the promise. So the king offers, so there is this ritual where you allow water to pass your hand, and that's how you make a promise. And then Shukracharya starts to mess with that whole process. He becomes a fly and tries to stop the king from doing that. But then God also knows that this is Shukracharya becoming a fly and doing it. So he has this umbrella made of straws, and then he pulls out one straw from the umbrella and just points it in the direction of the fly, and then the fly goes blind. So Shukracharya was blinded in that process. And then Raja Bali makes that promise that, okay, I give you 3 steps of land. And then in the first step, when God places his foot, he takes the whole of earth. So he just takes away the whole of earth with his 1 foot. And then with the second foot, it is the sky. And then he asks Raja Bali, so where do I put the third foot? So the Raja Bali asks, where is your third foot? Then there is a foot emerging from the stomach. And then Raja Bali says, okay, then you place it on my head. Because there is nothing left to place your foot. So Raja Bali offers his head, and then God places his foot there. And then Raja Bali goes to the Patal Lok. In the story it is said that he goes to the Patal Lok, which is, there is an underground universe, they say in the scriptures. So this is the story of God coming and asking for a donation to destroy the attachment of a king who had great ego, that he is a great donor. Yes, and when I was reading today's Murli, and Baba said that I have come to ask you for donation, and you donate all your old rubbish. So old rubbish includes the body, relationships, possessions, titles, labels, everything is old rubbish. So Baba says, you donate everything to me. And Baba today says that I do it to finish your attachment. So just like in that story, God comes and asks for donation to finish his ego, that he is a great donor. At this time, Baba says, you have great attachment towards everything that you call mine. And in order to finish that attachment, I ask you to donate everything to me. I ask you to tell me, or to consider that everything belongs to Baba. And when you consider that, when you just understand that I have donated everything to Baba, then Baba says you will be able to finish your attachment with everything that you have. And I have all the time I tell you this, that attachment and abuse are connected. So when you call anything your own, then your vices come to play, and then you start misusing it, abusing it, creating vikarma out of it. Yes, you take permission to abuse another person's body, but never take permission to abuse your own body. You don't take permission to abuse your own wealth. So as soon as you are attached to something, you think you have ownership over it, then the next thing you start doing is you start abusing it. And all your vices come to play, and they become a playground for your vices. So your body, your relationships, your wealth, everything becomes a playground for your vices, and your vices start playing up there. Yes, so that's what happens. And that's why Baba says, until and unless you finish this merapan, until and unless you finish this ego, that all of this is mine and I can use it as I want, as I wish, and until and unless you understand that this is not mine, this has been given to me in trust, so I can only use it fruitfully. I have been given this in trust, and I have been given all of this so that I can put it to good use, to the benefit of humanity. And Baba says, only when you understand this, finish your attachment and start doing punya karma with it, will you go to the land of punya. Land of punya means Satyug. So this is the land of pap, and because we have abused everything saying it is my own, we are here. And then when we start using everything on Baba's directions and creating punya out of it, we will go to the land of punya, which is Satyug. So this is Baba's direction today. Now I'll tell you one simple thing, There is this brother, and when he was without a job, so when he was still, 17 years of age, I think, at that time he came to Baba, and he was a very sweet Kumar of Baba. Yes, very sweet, and he would just be like, do whatever Baba says. And then at the age of, I think, 23 or something, he got a job, and he got a good job. And then with that job came money. And then he started, so his life's problem started with, how do I spend my money? And then he started, doing this. Lot of his buddhi also came into Vistar. So he started doing this share market and stocks and this and that, and he just went astray. He was not in his senses anymore. And then he started thinking about buying this and buying that and this and that. And then one day he called me up and said, Didi, earlier I thought not having money is a problem, but since I am Baba's child and I know the difference between good karma and bad karma, I think money has become a great reason why I am doing all this bad karma. So then I said, you have to become a trustee of your money. And you have to understand that this belongs to Baba. So, you may contribute something to the center, that's different. But otherwise also, just the amount, whatever you look at it, consider this belongs to Baba. And use it fruitfully, and know that whatever is saved will tomorrow be used for Baba in some seva. So even when you are, it's not just what you give to the center for expenses, that's different. But even the whole amount, you have to think that this belongs to Baba, and I have to only make the necessary expenses, and rest I have to save. Maybe tomorrow there'll be Baba's home, or there'll be something or something, and you just save it and let it be with you. But know that this is not my property. This belongs to Baba and I cannot touch it. And then, after 6 months, he told me, Didi, that has helped me so much. And now that I am in economy, and that weight of wastage is not on me, I am also becoming ek nami. Means I am also able to remember Baba. So, economy and ek nami are very connected. So, when your money is wasted, you cannot remember Baba. Yes, because that is vikarma, that is waste, that is negative karma. And whenever you do negative karma, your buddhi will not be in place. Yesterday, Baba told us this in the Murli, that when you do ulte karam, when you do negative karma, then your buddhi doesn't become powerful. So your buddhi loses its power. And wasting anything, abusing anything, whether it is body, whether it is mind, whether it is money, whether it is the power of relationships, if you are abusing it or wasting it, then that creates a burden of vikarma, and your buddhi will never be in place. But the thing is, as soon as the sense of ownership sets in, as soon as you think that this body is mine, I am the owner, or I can do whatever I want with my mind or my time, then you start abusing it right away. So that's the relationship between attachment and abuse. And that's why Baba says that first you have to just donate everything with your buddhi to Baba. that this body is not mine, it belongs to Baba. This everything that I have, my mind, my thoughts, my time, everything belongs to Baba. And when you understand that I'm just a trustee, when you deeply, internalize this, then you will be able to use everything fruitfully. And nothing of it will be wasted, or no vikarma will be created out of it. And this is the way we will go to, we will become punyatma. And today there is a song in the Murli that take us far away from this world of sin to a place of rest and comfort. इस पाप की दुनिया से मुझे दूर कहीं ले चल, सुख चैन जहाँ पावे. So people call out to God that this is a place of sin, and please take us to a place of rest and comfort. But the thing is, you created this place of sin, so no one else can create a place of rest and comfort for you. You yourself have to create it. And how do you create it? Through this process. This is the process. So when you start understanding that everything belongs to Baba, and you start using it to create good karma, then that place of rest and comfort will be created. Yes, so this is it. And then just like this one story, there are many stories in the Murli today. So I would like to go by that approach today. So there is this other story of a princess, and the story goes like this, that there was a king and he had 4 daughters. And then he made all those 4 daughters sit down, and he asked, who feeds you? तुम किसके भाग्य का खाती हो? Whose fortune is it that you receive food? So then 3 of them said that, oh dear father, you feed us. You are the Lord and the King, and you feed us. And we are fortunate to be your child, and that's why we are fed well. And then one of them said that, I am fed by my fortune. So whatever I receive is because of my fortune. And then the father got angry. And then he said, okay, so if it is your fortune through which you are fed, then I will get you married to the first person I see in the morning outside the gate of the kingdom. And then the first person who was crossing was a beggar. And the king, without thinking twice, he got her married because his ego was badly hurt. And after the marriage, it was discovered that that beggar was actually a prince of a neighboring kingdom in disguise, who had come for, just to take a tour of this kingdom in disguise. So then that princess again became a queen, and then she invited her father for lunch, and then asked the father, so now what do you tell about who feeds me? And then the father said, okay, it is your destiny that feeds you. Now Baba says that, you see that everybody says that I am fed by my fortune. But when is that fortune created? And you see that in the world, rights are distributed differently. So, the rights of adults are not the same as children. The rights of women are not the same as men. The rights of some communities and castes are not the same as others. So this is a very, in terms of rights, this world is not So, it's not like it's an equal world. Everybody has a different set of rights. And Baba today in the Murli says that, women, they are not entitled to property. So women these days, they say that, women and boys and girls have equal right to father's property, or I don't know whether it is equal or not, but they have some right to property. But I don't know how many of them are able to claim it. So that's also there. And then you see about the husband. So I know of many women whose husbands have a lot of property in their name, but they have not entitled the woman to any property. And today Baba says that ideally the woman is called the half partner, but when it comes to financial issues, she is not made the half partner. And usually what happens is the father, he surrenders or he wills all the property to the children. And then when the children grow up and the father is dead, then the mother is neglected and abandoned. And this is what happens because they are not given anything. So Baba says that, we are living in a world where you cannot fight with the structure of the world or society and claim your right, but you can be fed by your fortune. Yes, and this is the time to create your fortune. So if you want all your 84 births to be fed by your fortune, so this is the time to create your fortune. And Baba says that if you belong to me and if you follow my Shrimat, then irrespective of whether you're a child or a female or a male or whatever, I give you the fortune for the whole of, the next cycle. And then even if you're born as a woman or a man or whatever, you don't have to worry, because the fortune you create today will go with you. Yes, and that's why, there is this beautiful saying that in the world everybody is equal, but some are more equal than others. So people say this is a very beautiful and very famous saying by some great person, and they said that everybody is equal, but some people are more equal than others. So this idea of equality is always present, but then there is a lot of difference in the execution. But then Baba says that if you want that in all of your next cycle, you don't have to depend on the social structure or anything else to give you what you deserve. You can create your fortune right now, and that fortune will allow you to have your rights come what may. And I can tell you that this is a very practical thing, because when I was growing up, I did not feel the brunt of, gender bias or anything of that sort. And I think because I created this fortune in the last Sangam Yuga, so I got everything in this until this Sangam Yuga also. I got everything, good and fair, because that's what you get when you create your fortune in Sangam Yuga. So it's a whole cycle, and if you look at what you got previous, before Gyan, and how you are when you belong to Baba. So if you are fully, belonging to Baba and you are doing as Baba says, then you can see the reflection of this even in the just previous phase of your life. So, even before belonging to Baba, you can see that so many things that could go wrong for so many people didn't go wrong for you. Because and you could have the privileges and the circumstances which allowed you to become a sensible and a human being. I think sensibility is the greatest asset in Sangam Yuga, and you grew up to be a sensible, not traumatized human being because you had created this fortune in Sangam Yuga. And if you see that you are not doing enough of what Baba says right now, then you can also see that that reflection can be seen in your pre-Sangam Yuga life also. So all these two things, because when it comes full circle, the end and the beginning join themselves. So it is again what you do now, it is a reflection of what you got at the end of the cycle also. And that's why sometimes when there are some souls who are who become Brahmins, but they have a lot of complaints about their Lokik life or circumstances, and sometimes we feel empathetic towards them, but when we see them, we see that they also spoil their fortune of Sangam Yuga. So when they come to Baba, they don't meditate, they don't observe purity, they don't do any seva, and that's why we can see why their life is the way it is. So Baba says that there is a connection, and if you want to create a fortune for the whole cycle, then do as Baba says right now, and you will be fed by your fortune. Otherwise, all other circumstances will be created, and there will be so many reasons. People will say that the world is unfair to women, the world is unfair to children, the world is unfair to this caste and that caste. But we are born in that circumstance because we do not create our fortune at this time. Am I clear? So this is my understanding, this is my observation, and this is my realization. So what I have realized, I shared with you, and again you are free to choose. So that's the thing. Now the third story that Baba talks about today is about the story that comes in the mention of Prahlad in the scriptures. And there is a story where it is said that Prahlad was the son of Hiranyakashyap, and Raja Hiranyakashyap used to call himself Bhagwan. So even Prahlad being his son, he was trained to think of Hiranyakashyap as Bhagwan. So he thought that my father is God. But then one day he was just going somewhere, and then he saw one Kumhar, the potter. One potter, he was praying to God, and he was saying, "Oh God, help me, oh God, help me." And then he stopped there and asked, "Are you praying to my father?" So that potter said, "No, I am not praying to your father, I am praying to God." So then he said, "Who is God?" So he said, "Just let me pray now." So he said, "Okay, then what are you praying about? Tell me that." So he said, the potter said that he put the bricks in a furnace, and then he lit the furnace, and he cannot douse the fire until the bricks are cooked well. But later he realized that some kittens were there inside the furnace. And then he said, "I am praying to God to save those kittens from the fire." So he said, "How can it be that a furnace is burning and bricks are getting burnt in it, but then your kittens will be saved?" So then the potter said, "If God wants it, then it can happen." And then this child was very excited that this is not something that my father can do. So let me see if there is somebody more powerful than my father. And then he sits there and waits for the fire to extinguish, and then he sees that those kittens were safe inside the fire even when the furnace was burnt for the whole time and the bricks were cooked. Even after that, the kittens were saved. And from there, this story starts that Prahlad started saying that Narayan is Bhagwan. And then Hiranyakashyap got angry, and you know the rest. That he tried to burn Prahlad away, and then there is the story of Holika, and that's why you celebrate Holi. So now in this story, what Baba is trying to say is, we saw that in the story it is said that God can make the impossible possible, but you need faith. Yes, so Baba says that, when Brahma Baba was, and today Baba also says that, when God's task is done, then obviously resources are required. So Shiv Baba made Brahma Baba surrender. He turned his buddhi, he made him surrender all his resources, and then the yajna was sustained by Brahma Baba's resources. And then many came to the yajna. But then you know that there was a beggary part when there was nothing to eat, nothing was there. So all of Brahma Baba's resources were, exhausted, and then there was nothing left. And at that time, it was like sitting in a furnace like those kittens. And only those who had faith in Baba survived. And those who didn't have faith, they left. But those who had faith, they not only survived, but they were looked after very well by Baba. And Baba says that nobody died of hunger. Even in beggary part, it was not like there was never food and somebody died of hunger. So Baba says there was no hunger death. But when children don't have faith, then they start shaking at very little, problems. And what I have seen in Gyan Marg, we are addicts. So, we are all, when we come to Gyan, we are all addicts of our vices. And then when we are asked to leave our vices, then obviously that looks like a life of tapasya to us. When you are not engaging or indulging in vices, it looks like a process of tapasya to us. And then just like any addict, you have withdrawal symptoms. And then you feel like, maybe you will die without lust or die without ego, or maybe if you don't have greed, then probably all your business will go to hell. And if you don't have attachment, then you will not be able to function as a family person and whatnot. So you have all these withdrawals when you come to Gyan. And then Baba says that because you get scared, you run away. But then if you just have faith that I'm not going to die from this. And I always, in this whole journey, I kept telling myself this, that you won't die of anything. If you just leave your greed or your attachment, nobody is dying. You will not die of it, nobody will die of it. And then Baba says, with this faith, you have to start following Shrimat. Some people say, if I wake up early in the morning, probably I'll be out of sleep and I will be very tired or this or that. But they never try getting up. They just get scared and don't do it at all. But if you try getting up in the morning, you know that it is very refreshing, very energizing. There is no trace of tiredness in it. So Baba says, you have to move with faith in this Gyan Marg. There is no substitute of faith. So until and unless you cross adversities, you cannot realize your powers and virtues. But during those adversities, whether those adversities come from challenging your own sanskars, or they come from changing your lifestyle and facing social stigma because of that. So whatever adversities are coming, when you have faith that it is Baba who has told me to follow this, and so this must meet success, when you have that faith, you can move along and see victory. And if you don't have faith, then you will never see that the kittens could be saved even after the being there in the furnace for so long. So you will never become aware of spiritual power and power of Baba if you don't have faith and don't give up and don't stay determined in the face of adversity. So this is the crux of this story. And then Baba tells the story of Shravan Kumar today. And in the story of Shravan Kumar, we have all heard the story of Shravan Kumar. And in that story, Shravan Kumar is a very good child. And he takes his parents, old parents, on a pilgrimage by holding them on a scale. So have you seen a weighing scale? So it's something like something like a scale, and on the two sides there are two pans, and he makes his parents sit on those two pans, and then he takes them on a pilgrimage. So that's the story of a good child. Now Baba says, in the world, a good child is that one who serves his own parents. But in Baba's terminology, a good Baba's child is one who serves the whole of humanity. So you are not a good child if you just serve your own parents. Then you are very selfish. Or you're very moral. Maybe that we could say that you have a lot of morality inside you, but not spirituality. So when we say a good spiritual child, it means someone who serves the whole of humanity. And Baba says, if you want to be Baba Shravan Kumar, then you have to, take across, just like he took his parents across on the scale. You have to take every soul across by teaching them Gyan and Yoga. So this Gyan and Yoga are the two pots on which you can place souls, and they can go across to the world of souls and to Satyug. So Baba says you have to make everybody sit on the scale of Gyan and Yoga, and then they can go to the world of peace and happiness. So this is being Baba Shravan Kumar. So if you want to be Baba Shravan Kumar, you can do that. And Baba also today says that it is good to become pure. Now Baba today says two things. Baba says you should always remember that which is good. Yes, but and Baba says this is a law, that you always remember what is good. Yes, but yesterday there was somebody who sent me a test, and that test was they told me that this is to determine whether you are sattvic, rajasic or tamasic in your quality. Yes, so are you a sattvic person or a rajasic or a tamasic? It was very funny, but anyways, so in that test what I observed was, it was all about your taste of food, your taste of ambience, your taste of what kind of relationships you like, your taste of entertainment, what's your idea of entertainment, what's your idea of a good holiday, what's your idea of a good clothing. So what kind of clothes you like, what kind of food you like. And your likes determine who you are. So that was a very nice example, and if I just if I just apply that to today's Murli, Baba says that you must always have a taste for good, but you will always have a taste for good if you are good. If you are pure, you will like everything pure. Otherwise, if you are not pure inside, you will not remember or like anything pure. So this is why Baba says, once you start becoming pure, then automatically your taste changes. And then you start liking everything pure. So sometimes, people say that I don't like this, but you don't like this because you're not pure now. But once you start working on your purity, then everything good will become likable. Yes. So this is something to think about in the Murli today. And there are many other points. There's the blessing, slogan, and Mama's words are also very valuable. So you churn over all of that. Om Shanti.